My name is Jörg Krebber, and I'm talking to you about the East and the Western medicine. The Eastern philosophy is already has been talked about. It was in the 5 elements, the 5 pillars of health, and those are actually the 5 understandings: physical, chemical, electronical. What is electronics in us? Do you understand that? There is very little understanding in us, because when you talk about chemistry in us, we know, because every body cell has a lot of chemical work to do in order that it can do physical work. But the chemical work of a body cell is depending on the electronics. And that is simply called electrolytes. Here we have a big problem, because people nowadays suffer from mineral deficiency. And that is because due to one important fact. And you know which one is that? That since 50 years we have monoculture, we have nitrogens and fertilizer, and the monoculture is depriving the good healthy soil of its vitamins, of its minerals, of everything that we need. And that is known, but nobody talks about it, because it is a big problem. It's a political problem all over the world, because we need their argument, their saying is that how can we otherwise feed the world? That is real bullshit, because even that we have all these cultures, the world is 2/3 of the world population. 1/3 has not enough food, dying of hunger. 1/3 is just making it about, and 1/3 is living like we do. Right? So something is wrong here. Now I will come back to another understanding, which is our Eastern 5-element pyramid, which was created after the Second World War by the World Health Foundation organization. And they had, at that time, that was in the 50s, they had a very clear question giving to the science, medical kingdom. So let's find out what is it the body needs. And that was very clever. Not today anymore, but that time it was cleverly done, because what is it what we need is really important to understand. And this understanding is here to very easily seen in the pyramid. The biggest amount of our daily intake, food intake, no matter what we eat, but should be of carbohydrates. Why? Because we have 100 billion body cells, and each of these body cells each millisecond needs what? Sugars. Sugar, sugar, sugar. So that is why we say we have to have a lot of sugar. We talk about the sugar, because one sugar and another sugar and another sugar. We have many different kinds of sugar, and each sugar molecule it has a different metabolic breakdown in our body. So it's not like just say carbohydrates. But carbohydrates are very essential. And now understand one thing. Many people in the West say low carb. Low carb, high carb. What does that even mean? If you eat no carbohydrates, if you, for example, go right into the proteins and eat meat, of course they have no carbohydrates. In the meat they have what? They have proteins, amino acids, and fatty acids. And why do we derive from proteins and fatty acids in meat? Still, why do we derive from that carbohydrates? Simply because our body is intelligent enough to reconvert fatty acids into sugars. The same process happens if we eat sugar, too much sugar. That sugar that we cannot digest immediately will then eventually, or not eventually, immediately be turned into fatty acids. Otherwise, if that doesn't happen, you would be a diabetic. And then you need more insulin. And if we understand that we have too much sugar, too much proteins, and that is not from the understanding we once were given by the World Health organization, that carbohydrates should be about 2/3 in all our food, and the rest protein, and then fats and oils and vitamins and minerals and all that. So here it's very clever. Actually, this is a wonderful chart, and it resembles the 5-element chart of the East perfect. Yeah, because the most important thing is what we were living, and all mankind who, not like Eskimos, because they cannot grow really like fields and harvest fruits, right? But all those ones who have the opportunity on this planet to live in this 5-element geological environment, which we do, then we have a lot of grains growing. And that was always growing on the planet, and the planet was always living on grains, no matter what. 10,000 years, we can remember that back, especially in India. Proteins were thought of very, very little. In the old times, it was said, and the World Health Organization said, you need only maximum 50 grams of piece of meat a day, because then your protein intake for that day has reached the maximum. So you can say, okay, then I eat today a little more because then I have some proteins for tomorrow. Absolutely nonsense, stupid, because the only thing the body cannot store is proteins, because proteins and amino acids in the body, when they are stored in excess, when that means the body has not made use of it, these proteins go amok. Then our immune system gets alert and wants to get rid of them. If we have a problem with strong allergic reaction, that is because of proteins in it, because only proteins, not the sugars. The sugars don't make us a problem, but the proteins is the one that make us a problem. So here we have too many, because very, very simple. If you have with 50 grams of meat already the daily supply of amino acids for the body, and everything else what was eaten more is useless, waste, then I simply ask you a simple question: why do we have to eat more? Only because it tastes better. We love it, but not for the sake of health. And remember that in old times, and when I was traveling in the East, and I've been in many Muslim countries as well, at a time when there was no war, when it still was all peaceful, Muslims ate. They had a big plate of rice, they had sauce, they had the 5 elements, and each one was given one little, maybe 20 grams of meat. The rest was cooked sauce, fantastic sauce with a lot of herb and spices. And I remember in Europe, when we were eating, only Sunday was given meat. The rest of the weeks were given pulses, lentils and beans, and one time in the week was fish. So this was given to us by the World Health Organization. And then slowly, who took over this intelligent chart? Who? The market, the business, the pharmacies, and especially our supermarkets. And those ones, they are the real Al-Qaedas, right? Because what they're doing and what they do to our health is nothing else but trying to sell the maximum and make the profit, and no matter whether it's good or bad for us. Now, nobody knows about this old chart anymore, because they have taken over and made their own. The pyramid is left, but the contents of the pyramid is shifted. So carbohydrates is very important. This is important too, but we need 70%. Here we need maybe maximum 20%. Then we have 10% left, and that is fats and oils. Makes perfect sense, with what? With how all the Eastern people were having their food. Even those countries who eat meat, because Chinese were eating meat. Then Pakistan and Persian people were eating meat, but they had all this kind of an understanding. And this understanding we have been living by for centuries, not even, or better to say, for thousands and thousands of years. The gladiators in Rome, they had found many graves and many bones from them. And through our technology, they could analyze a bone, all gladiators were 100% vegetarians. Did you know that? Purely vegetarian, because you can, with the techniques of scanning a DNA, and even if it's little left, but the techniques is, we are so far advanced that we can have from a little leftover of a bone from 2,000 years ago, yeah, we can find out what they were eating. And you tell you what, up to 100% exact. And nothing was found in their bones or in their DNA that they were eating meat at all. And not only them, also all the Roman legions. Nobody was eating meat. They were eating pulses and grains, a lot of grains always. Indians did it for thousands, for 8,000 years. You must understand Indian culture, 8,000 years non-stop without only now it's interrupted. You know why? Because they're open to the Western world. And when you let in McDonald's, that's the end of it. McDonald's is the end of the world. Right? But you know what is funny in India? I mean, the Chinese, every country, I mean, hails McDonald's. They flock like, you know, like flies to the cow dung. You know what? McDonald's had to close down their shops in India. Do you know why? Because people didn't want to go there. That's a good news, huh? So that Indian people still are reluctant to the really strong Western kind of food. But that will change too. Now we have here, number one, vitamins, enzymes, and hormones, which are very, very essential. How do we find them? Before, in old times, we found them in the food. We found them in carbohydrates, in proteins, in fat, and oil. Now we don't find them anymore in there, because everything what we eat is refined. It is nothing in it. And here comes something very, very important to understand, and that's not for me. Brussels is our new government for Europe, and there is the office for survey of food, and they check everything that exists in our shelves, in our health food, so-called health food, better to say in our supermarkets. And you know what? We have, and that's there, not me saying it, they say we have, meanwhile, more than 100,000 vitamins, enzymes, and hormones artificially, so-called synthetically manufactured by pharmacy, which are given into the food because we don't have them anymore in the food. And naturally, why can't we have them anymore in the food? Because everything is refined. Even if there's something left on the crops or on that what's done, yeah, still then it's refined. So it's nothing left. And that is why we come up with this way. Pharmacy is good at it, and they built that. 100,000 synthetically, genetically, new built vitamins, enzymes, and hormones. And they go right into our genes, genetic program. We do that since 50 years only. What we have now as a result is that the whole planet goes crazy. And we are not anymore really in our head functioning, because this here is genetic impact of an absolute unbelievable strength to what? To everything, and especially to our genes. So here, this is a field, we don't talk about it at all, because they say, we don't know whether that does something good or bad, we don't believe in it. One day, when we believe in it, that it's doing something bad, it's far too late. Then we can't reverse it anymore. So the next thing is here, the small one, is the mineral kingdom. And the mineral kingdom, here we have a big deficiency because people are told to have to drink 5 liters of water because to flush the body. I would say, don't flush the body, eat proper, then you don't have to flush it. You have to supply the body with good soup or tea or mineral-rich drinks. And that we don't have anymore. So when you have already a weakness and the doctor tells you drink 5 liters of water, flush your body, then you will be more sick than before. You know why? Because too much drinking will deprive you of minerals. So instead of getting over the food, and that better is, you know what? You drink 1 liter of soup, even cold soup, in a day, really fine cooked soup, 5-element soup, which the Chinese doing it, and do that every day. And I tell you what, I lived in these countries 11 years, and I know what I'm talking about. Caribbean, West Indies, they do still today, they do soup. Not the young people, but the old people. And why? Because when they have their soup, you have instant power. You can drink that all day long, and you feel fine. So what is it when we were in old times, and I mean old times, not thousands of years ago, so only 20, 30 years ago, old times, when you were sick? You were given a broth, and that was a chicken, and vegetables, and herbs, and spices, and cooked for 6 hours, 12 hours, and that liquids, broth, that was given to the people as a medicine. And I tell you what, it was a medicine, provided the chicken was not coming from one of these batteries. Chinese, Japanese, Indians still do it today. We've forgotten completely about it, because if you tell a chicken broth is something very, very special, very healthy, but don't eat the chicken, don't eat the vegetables, throw that all away, because everything is so-called in the liquid. That is mineral kingdom pure. Or when we, in old times, our times, was we took bones from beef, chopped it up, and cooked the bones for 24 hours, 48 hours. Let it simmer, simmer, simmer. And you know what it was? It was an incredible rich calcium broth, which was instant healing. Why is it that the Chinese did that since thousands of years? We did it. Why is it gone? What is it what instead we are having for drinks? What is it? It's Red Bull. Fantastic, you know Red Bull. Hallelujah. Right? And I call it Dead Bull, right? Because it's killing you. Then we have a lot of sugars and especially Coca-Cola. Now, if you only imagine Germany, only German people alone had drunk 4 billion liters of Coca-Cola in 1 year, plus all the other drinks, and this has no meaning other than deprive you of minerals. For me, it's a miracle why you're still all here. Because when people who drink that, they would still run around. But tell you what, ask me not for how long. Because it's going down and down and down. Health is not increasing, health is decreasing. So here we have five elements, wonderfully described. The most important one is actually that on the mineral kingdom, because if we talk about health, and if you want to start to improve something in you, I tell you what, it is the mineral kingdom first. And that is, we start with liquid soup. In my times, and I know that all over, and the British have done it for 500 years, they were surviving on porridge and salt, pinch of salt in it. And the salty porridge soup is just fantastic, but if you offer that somebody today, that's almost a strong offense, a reason to sue you. Because people want to have in the coffee in the morning. And what is coffee? Coffee is a thief of all the minerals. But what is it you want when you drink a coffee? Where do you want to thief from your body? Because your body is already empty, right? It's like letting a burglar get into your house, but there's nothing in there. So, and that is coffee doing to you. But still, coffee, coffee, coffee. People get more crazy. They're deprived of minerals. And here we're talking about next, mineral kingdom. Most important, that is acid and alkalinity, understood completely wrong. Thank you.